Hey, it's Thursday.
Hey,
We're
hey,
back.
I know. Jesus. How you
Dean
been?
seen things. I've been good, man. Doing
Yeah?
really well. Yeah.
You haven't seen anything?
No, movies.
You know, it's funny. I was sitting there trying to remember the movies that I've watched.
Yeah.
I can't remember shit.
No, I mean,
I mean,
it's
there's like
it's
there was 14 hours of this.
it was all the
Ugh.
days. It was
Oh,
all the
dude, it was
days.
all the days. It was all the days. Dude, there was one night we got 2 hours of sleep.
Woo. No,
We had to
heck
edit.
no.
Well, it it it, it just goes sideways, man. You know,
Yeah.
it starts out really good and then it just goes sideways. You know, and it's like
Dude, if I got 2 hours of sleep and then I went to a show, everyone would be like, man, I met Hi-Fi Vega. That dude is a jerk. I hate that guy. I suspect that's how I'd go. I'm such a baby. Like if I don't get like if I don't get 4 hours sleep, man, it is not going.
well, I mean, so we got done editing. You know, okay, so here's a couple things that we learned about Vegas that we just, you know, this is the third trip now and we keep learning things about Vegas.
Yeah.
The more time you spend outside, the worse it is. And this trip, we spend a lot of time outside. And what I mean by that is, like, you have to bring chapstick. Like, I don't ever use chapstick in my normal world, but when I
Yeah.
travel, and especially when I go that direction, you got to have chapstick. And you just got to, like, all day long, you're just like
Yeah.
lipsticks, just putting it on all day long. The other thing I figured out on this trip is that probably gonna need to get some like nasal spray, just some moisturizer, just
Yeah.
because like your sinuses dry out. My, I would, dude, like all weekend, all just like just still just crusties.
Yeah.
Um, and then eye drops, just because of the smoke and the dirt and the just the
Yeah.
so um yeah, drink like water. Yeah, it's water ain't gonna help it. I mean, I just need to splash water on my face. But it was as I was so we went to the Focal Vibe House where we introduced the new speakers. Did you get a chance to see the new Focal M
So
profile?
no, because I was watching the live stream, but I didn't complete the live stream, so I didn't watch the uploaded.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they introduced, which we're not supposed to talk about, even though we've already seen them and we've all seen them, the new K2 M profiles.
Are those
So
thin? Are those the thin
no,
ones?
so
Oh,
it's
okay.
think of Utopia M,
Yeah.
but K2.
Oh.
And the tweeter is like the tweeter isn't a tweeter. It's a high frequency mid range. So it's actually a speaker. And I know tweeter's a speaker, but it's more of a conventional motor drive
Right.
where there's a cone, a voice coil, and a spider that you
Yeah.
can clearly see apart from one another, as opposed to a tweeter that's just like magnet tweeter,
Yeah.
you know.
It's more of a
So
high frequency driver than a straight up tweeter.
yeah, so it's still, but it's like when you look at like a high frequency mid range, I feel like they suck at the high end,
Yeah.
so they play down two. So this is more shifted the other way. So it's still a hard dome metal,
Yeah.
but it plays down like silly low. But the power handling, if you're trying to do that, is like shit. So it'll
Right.
do great in Europe doing that, but here it'll like no.
Yeah.
Let's bring it more up into like the Morel crossover points, and you'll probably be good. You
Well,
know,
that's
because
where
they're
you see a lot of them rated like 10 watts nominal.
yeah,
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 something
but
like that.
nobody believes that, or they
No,
believe
no.
it and they're like, "Well, I'm gonna get the 300-watt guy,"
Yeah.
and you're like, "It's not 300
Why?
watts, man. It's not 300
And
watts."
if it is, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, so we had to film a commercial for that, where we just just a quick like 2-minute commercial, and we got
Yeah.
home. We left where we were at, and that's one of those when in Vegas, leave it in Vegas moments.
Yeah.
And by the time the Uber picked us up, we got back to the hotel. It was probably closer to like 2:15, and then we realized we hadn't really eaten dinner yet, and we were both starving. And
Oh,
so
dude.
luckily the hotel had a cafe that was open 24 hours. So we
Yeah.
got some food, got back to the room, ate, uploaded all the video. The internet sucked, man. Oh my
I
god.
know.
Like
I could tell on the stream that was like
Oh, it was pissing me off.
It's dragging. Well, I mean, there's 10,000 people there that week,
Well, okay.
just in your hotel.
Well, yeah, but so here's the funny part. Like 1 minute, Verizon is killing it, and so Fernando has Verizon, and I've had AT&T, just in case one doesn't work. Hopefully, the other one will. And like when we went on time that one day, it ended up being. Thank you. That was actually, we ended up going on Fernando's phone, has the internet. So we just streamed through his phone because we couldn't get mine to connect for like 20 minutes. But the night before, when we were tested everything, worked great. And then when we went live that late night, that we were both falling asleep for, like AT&T worked great, So it was like, and then of course, there was people complaining that we didn't do enough coverage and we planned on doing more coverage. And it was like, dude, you don't understand, man. Like time just gets away from you. It's like you step into this vortex of like, what the hell?
Dude, listen, they're going to complain. You could have done wall-to-wall coverage. They're still a complainer.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But
so the hotel Wi-Fi was just like no bueno.
The hotel, no, I have yet to be in hotel Wi-Fi that I could pair to stream anything. Like I've been in a hotel and tried to upload like a 10-minute video and literally take all night.
Dude, that's why you go to the south. Like, listen, nobody's in these hotels.
Dude, there's nobody in these hotels. Dude, I was in Kicker trying to do it and I couldn't get out. I had to go to I had to just stop it and go into their place in the morning, just sit out in the lobby. Their lobby, the museum Wi-Fi was better than the hotels.
Oh, wow. That's funny.
There's no time clocks in Vegas. Yeah, no doubt, man. It's like, and I mean, honestly, we had a blast. Like this last SEMA these are two different SEMAs. Like last SEMA, COVID, all that crap. This SEMA, no COVID. Amp Global now owns audio control. Things just happen differently. But in the end, we had a great time. Dude, let me tell you what, we went to the Rockford party.
Yeah.
Which was hilarious. We had an entourage I had to get in. But hey. Oh my God, dude, those guys spend some fucking money. Dude, there was like 300 people there.
Wow.
They rented the whole bar.
Where was it at?
I knew you were gonna ask me that.
It was at that place.
The Virgin. It was in the Virgin.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It was like the upper deck. I think it was called the upper deck at the Virgin. They had a live band. I mean, we got there late. Open bar. I'm sure there was food. It was gone by the time we got there. Oh, dude, it was crazy. It was crazy. I mean, we took one Uber one night. I think that was it. Otherwise, we were just like hitching rides with people. I had dog hair all over me because Chewy and Princess, Brian Mitchell's dogs. And they're so excited to see me, man. They're just I'm covered in dog hair. Princess just goes crazy on you, and it's like well,
she's still baby.
Oh yeah. Well, one night we were walking through the Paris, and it was probably 11 o'clock, so it was still early, and it was me, Brian. There was a whole group of us, but talking was me, Brian, and this guy Rich, who's been on the show before. He's the guy that makes the CarPlay Android auto interfaces, rvdfl.com. Anyway, so it's the three of us and the two dogs, and Rich is a single guy, Brian is a single guy, and Rich is from New York. And so he's like, yo, what's up? No, and so we got left behind. Like we literally got left behind, and we didn't know where the hell everyone went because people were just coming up. Oh, can I pet? And there's all these girls wanting to pet these dogs, and we finally get to a point. We're with. There's a dueling piano bar at the Paris.
Yeah,
that was really freaking cool. We stood outside because the dogs were like, no, we don't want any part of this shit. It's way too loud. So we just stood outside and listened to it. Everyone else went inside. And Rich is like, God damn, when I get home, I'm getting me one of these freaking dogs. This is ridiculous, man. These dogs pull ass. Holy shit. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Dang.
Yes, in the sprinkles of rain, storm is coming. Dude, it was it rain. It was raining here all day. Yeah, they did use home amps and a home DSP to power the tower speakers that they made. So it had 4 5.25-inch subwoofers because Focal likes to do that for some reason. They've been doing that for years in that line. And then they had a set of six and tweeters. And the reason why they did that is because they were turning things on and off. So they really screwed with everybody because they were playing the tweeters and the 4 subwoofers, and that was it.
Yeah.
And people were sitting there going, "Oh my god, this thing sounds amazing!" And they were like, "Yeah, that's just the tweeters and the 4 5.25s." And everyone was like, "What?" You know. And then Sage, they had the Bronco there, the one that we had filmed that had all K2 in it. And they took all the K2 stuff out, put all M profile K2 in. So they had redone the whole Bronco. He'd been in California all week. So yeah, that was, it was crazy, man. I'm telling you, man, the whole experience was just crazy. We were going 100 miles an hour. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and then like Bill comes over to us and he's like, "Dude, Bobby Gately wants to all right, Jesus, hold on. My brain is I'm still tired. But Bobby Gately wants to meet Lori from Kicker, you know, because like Lori used to be tech support and they used to talk all the time. He's like, they'd never met. So, you know, he's like, "Dude, you guys need to come over. I want to get a picture of you guys," or blah, blah. I'm like, "All right, what time? Just tell me when." So and then we went over there and he was hanging out with Lori, and then we went over and we met Bobby Gately and his wife. And then the next day we met Drew and
Steve.
Yes. Yep. Sorry. Which I didn't know he was part of the shit or shitstone, whatever that is.
Shitting on him.
Shitting on him. I love those stickers. I didn't know that was him.
Yeah.
Bobby, we got done talking with Lori, and Bobby's like, "All right," because they could only play the SPL stuff at the top of the hour for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So we all sped walk out to the parking lot. His wife hopped in one of them, and he hopped in the other, and we, you know, Fernando and I listened to just the big ass truck. Fernando listened to both of them.
Yeah.
And then the next day we brought Mel out from Amp because Mel, as we all know, is a Basshead. And I'm like, "Dude, Mel, like," he's like, I don't know these guys. "How do you know these guys?" Like, come on, man. So, you know, it was pretty funny. Bobby likes Nana because they're the same height. Yes. Yeah, they are. There's no doubt about it. But no, we had a lot. Dude, it was so cool, man. And then we went out to the SPL. We went out to the SPL guys like 3 times because after we hung out, met everyone, had a blast. The guys are so cool, so nice. It was great to meet all of them. We later brought Matthew Palumbo from Audio Control out and he just was giggly, man. He turned into a big giggle puss. He's like, "I don't know what it is about SPL vehicles, but I just laugh. I can't do anything but
everyone has a little bit of Basshead in them, whether they want to admit it or not. When it starts going, it's like, this is cool, man. This is cool, and it's just, you know, you're in it.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. It was cool. We went into the most hotels on this trip. Because we went to see what the hell? We went to Cirque du Soleil to see the O show, which is the water Cirque du Soleil, which was really cool. That was Matthew, Fernando, and I. And then so that was in the Bellagio. So it was like, wow, the Bellagio is pretty nice. And then we walked across the next door to it is the Cosmopolitan. We walked there and got dessert at this place called Milk. I don't know. The ice cream tastes like cereal milk.
No, pass.
It was different. It was apparently the cookies. Apparently it's the cookies. I didn't know that, but you know, I got the ice cream. And then we walked across the street to meet everyone at the Paris. And yeah, so it was just like, and then we went to some other Hilton Garden Hotel, which was weird because it wasn't a casino. I was like, well, this is cool. It's the only one that smelled good when you walked in.
Yeah.
Like you walked in, you're like, wow, it smells so nice. Ours, you know, where we stayed across from the convention center or whatever the hell that place was called. Barry Manilow was playing, which we did not go see.
He's still alive.
He's still alive, and they play his ad like every 5 minutes in there, and it's just funny. He does this. He does this little foot scoot thing in the video, and you're just like, he's gonna break a hip.
Yeah.
He's gonna break a hip.
He's still going.
But you walked in and it was like, oh my god, it smells like a. It smelled like hospital antiseptic.
Yeah.
And the casino in it was so small. I was like, this is so because like we've
Wait, what
been.
hotel was that?
I don't know.
It's by
Whatever's.
the
It's
convention.
literally right next door to the convention center,
which used to
I'm
be
sure.
the Hilton. The Hilton used to be the convention center, and it had
Yeah.
Star Wars attraction. And
You mean the Star Trek? That was the Star Trek.
Star Trek. Yeah.
Yes, that's the hotel because you could see where some of that area they're rebuilding some of that, and you could see where some of the old doors were and stuff. It's apparently a timeshare now. So
God.
Yeah, like it's so strange.
Yeah.
Copacabana, baby. But it's weird because like the Orleans and South Point, they both have massive casinos. Like, holy, just for days it felt like. And every other place we went, the casinos just were kind of small.
Oh, really?
It's like, or you just didn't see them. Like, I didn't.
Well, the Bellagio is really spread out. They have small areas for each of their.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure we would have gotten lost because half the time I didn't know where the hell we were. Like when we went to the Virgin, I didn't know where I was.
Yeah.
I was with people, so I was just like, I don't know where we're going.
Do you sometimes do more walking inside a casino than just walking outside a casino on the street?
Oh yeah. Well, when we finally got to the Paris, which is where Knowledge Fest is going to be this year, I'm just like, really? We're going to be okay? Like,
yeah.
I couldn't find shit. Like I literally couldn't find anything. The way they have the village look on it, I couldn't find anything. I was just like, I have no idea. Oh, you could still drive down the strip, but
oh heck no, I would never do it. I didn't even ride cabs when we were there. We just used the monorail for everything.
Well, that was cool. You could take the monorail, but see that was nice because we filmed it for the video. So once we actually get the video up, we leave our room, we go to the hotel. The hotel door opens and Chip Foose and his entourage are in there. And I was like, oh. So we walk in and I go, hey, Fernando, remember that one time we were in the elevator with Chip Foose? And then they just were blown away by my shoes. And I was like, oh, it's all my damn shoes, man. Jesus Christ.
That's funny.
Yeah. But anyways, hey, it's Vegas. I still don't understand why they do these things in Vegas. Oh, and then one night we went to Brian Schmidt from Mobile Solutions was doing a little training at a guy's shop. And he was like, we weren't supposed to go, but then like we got freed up. So I called Brian Mitchell and was like, hey man, we can go. He's like, I'm on my way to pick you up. And I was like, okay. And that was kind of why we didn't get to do live that one night, because I thought like it didn't start till 7:00 and he was picking us up at like 5:30. I was like,
yeah,
why so early? But then I remembered we're in Vegas and it takes forever to go anywhere. So even though we only had to go like 4 miles, we made it there just in time. And then they're like, hey, you're going to help teach this. And I was like, oh, cool.
Great.
Yeah.
See, that's where we differ. I'm like, oh, I got freed up. So that gives me 2 hours to sleep. Yeah. I'll sleep and then I'll get back up and do something. Yeah.
No, not a chance. We did meet Baba though. He came over. We got to say hi to him. Yep.
I seen him sneaking on the kicker stream.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. So when Bill was doing the stream, and I think Andy like cut it out and like posted it up. Baba just kicking it in the back, trying to be inconspicuous at 7'5".
Yeah. Well, did you see the picture of me doing bunny ears to John Myers?
Yes, I did.
Dude, I begged Bill. I said, Bill, for the love of God, please put this up. John Myers had no idea. He had no idea. John Myers walks around in John Myers' world.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, please, for the love of God, put it up. Come on, make my day. This will make me so happy. And so he put it up. So that was cool.
Yeah, I definitely seen that.
No, Fernando didn't find his wallet. No.
Oh, damn, he lost his wallet.
That was last trip. That was actually last year.
Okay.
All we've been back since then.
Yeah. But no.
All right, we do have a topic tonight, other than SEMA talk.
We have a topic. So let me pop it up here. Well, let me first say the topic is car audio is dangerous for several reasons. for several reasons.
You lose a lot of sleep.
Yeah. What the hell was it? All right, I'm gonna have to pop it up and then show it. Of course, do it live.
I did not even know he was live streaming. LOL. Yeah, it happens.
All right, so this all comes up because I recently sold an amp to a. Oh, did that squeeze in? All right, so I recently sold an amp to my niece's husband, and he's not big into installing, so he doesn't really install himself. Although he does understand how to hook up positive ground and all this stuff, the basics. So he comes in and he gets the amp and he's like, "Man, I can't get it to work." He's like, it seems like it's powering up, but it's the lights going off and I'm getting no sound, and it's a 5-channel. So I'm thinking, all right, I don't, maybe the remote, something's going on with it. And so I was like, just bring it by on Sunday and I'll take a look at it. Now, this totally unrelated to the amp. This is once we got in to it, and I was like, we're going to have to rewire your subs. We're going to use a different amp than what I planned on originally. I go to pull the subs out, and this red wire right here, this is maybe 18 gauge.
Okay.
This is what's coming out of the speaker terminal.
Going to the amplifier?
Going to the amplifier. Okay, so that was the first sign. I was like, we probably need to change that. But I need to pull subs out to rewire anyways.
Yeah.
So then I see this jumbled mess. There's 3 pieces. Let me also say, the amp that they had hooked up to this, a professional shop did this. They sold him the box. He had the subs and the amp. It's a Kenwood old school amp. They wired dual forum subs 1 mono to a 1999 Kenwood amp.
Perfect.
So everybody, like, no Kenwood amp that I know of from that era will do 1 mono.
No, not even the new ones will do 1 mono.
Right. So like it melted the fuses and all this. So I pull this out and I see this wire here, which is taped onto the post. This is maybe 20 gauge wire at maximum.
Uh-huh.
And then they have this wire taped to this thicker wire here to extend it so it could get out far enough to hook it up to the sub. And then these 2 are twisted together to go from one side of the sub to the other to parallel it.
Okay.
And so we got 18 gauge going to like 12 gauge. And then
so it's just like, what do you got in the scrap bucket? And we wired up some subs with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's victim number 1 that we have here. Once I pull that out and like get into it, well, I do that and I still can't figure out why the hell I'm getting no remote signal from the remote turn on. Getting power and ground, 12 volts. Nothing from the remote. The remotes run through the trunk. So I'm thinking to myself, like, they're using a line output converter. Gotta be. Because I see here's when I open it up. I didn't take pictures of this, unfortunately. Let me pop up the what else we did find in there, but let's see here. So I didn't take pictures, but there's wires everywhere. And I realized that we have a line output converter situation. I see 2 speaker wires that were going with the power and ground. Or not 2 speaker, 2 speaker wires. It's like one speaker wire. And I'm thinking in my head, like, maybe this is for the line output converter. And they were stripped long, about this long, letting me know that they probably just wrapped it around the power wire and ground and put it straight into the amp, which is exactly what they did. Because once I sent that 12 volts, guess what? The remote turn on worked.
Okay.
So after I see that, I'm questioning stuff like, who did this? And it's actually a shop that's probably about 30 minutes from me. And he paid them to install it, like a legit real shop. And so I'm like, let's see what you got going on the battery. Like, I'm nervous about what's going on here. And as I'm working on it and checking his wires, which is all CCA, of course, he said, "Hey, look at that fuse. Something's up with that fuse." And this fuse, the way they had it routed, was rubbing right up against this metal, and or not the fuse, but the wire, until it broke through the jacket and then shorted out the wire, and just melted the crap out of it.
So the fuse like that happens for a couple different reasons. CCA, it'll tend to shrink,
Yeah.
and also the bolt that holds that fuse doesn't have a lock washer.
And I've got a better picture of it too.
And as it heats up and cools down, it shrinks and it becomes loose. And when it becomes loose, obviously it moves, and then it'll arc and it'll create all that heat. And that'll happen over the course of a month or two.
And I've got a better close-up picture of it here too. So
yeah.
So yeah, this is exactly what we had going on. There was so many. The line output converter was just hanging under the rear deck, not attached to anything. You know, just
this is why you mount your fuse holder, so that if something like this happens, you just don't have a live power wire floating around underneath the hood of your car that can do all kinds of damage. I mean, you got to figure that got so hot, it melted that plastic off of the wire and the fuse holder itself. And
yeah. And this is
awesome.
a fairly new Dodge Charger.
Yeah.
So it's it's only a couple years old, basically inches away from being burnt to the ground, I'd say.
Yeah. So, but that's what'll happen with the CCAs. That's like what I was telling you when you were doing the whole CCA thing. I was like, this is what you have to worry about, because as the wire starts to corrode, it gets thinner and it starts knocking around inside of there, sparking. And yeah.
And
not fun.
Well, see, the thing when I done that test to try to see why it was doing or how it would perform it for me, I installed it the way I would install regular wire, when I should have been installed the way someone that has no experience might install it.
Right.
Because I still have yet to have any issues with it. But if I didn't have the fuse holder mounted, and I didn't have heat shrink, and I didn't have it,
you're keeping a lot of the elements out of it.
Yeah.
And why that fuse didn't blow is because there's nothing actually shorting out yet.
Right.
So why would it blow? It might melt, but you're only going to melt the plastic. You're not going to melt the metal. So the fuse isn't going to blow. That fuse will only blow when it gets aground to short it out. It's the slow burn. Fuses don't blow with slow burn, man. And there's nothing, it's not like it's drawing any more amperage. So
yeah, there's no reason. And this is basically what his amp looked like.
Yeah.
He had the fuse just mount to it.
That's from not using a ferrule and just jamming the crappy wire in there and then not tightening it up. And then there again, it just sits there and it starts banging around inside of it, sparking and sparking and sparking. And it's just because it's not sparking because it's like a short. It's sparking because it keeps making contact. So it's not making contact, making contact. So think about when you take your power wire and you hook it up to your battery for the first time, it tries to charge those capacitors and you get the pow and you're like, it's just constantly doing that. So it's constantly creating that spark, which is setting off a bunch of heat.
Yeah, and heat is dangerous. Let me pop up the next one. heat builds fires.
Suggestion for 2015 Jeep Cherokee Sport that has 6x9s all the way around and 3.5s in the dash running on a JP84. Well, it depends as far as, obviously, I mean, if you're just looking for something that's going to fill the holes and do a nice job, the Kenwood Exelon 3.5 6x9 combo is like the 6903 or the 6902, depending on what the dash speaker is. If it is truly a 3.5, the 6903 is an awesome speaker to go in there. Sounds great. We do a lot of them. And then they make a 6x9. I think it's 692 for the rear. They're made, they work, they do great things. But if it just depends what type of music you want. That's a great all around speaker for music and whatnot. If you're looking to let your neighbors know you're coming, that's a different story.
Yeah. Do they have 6x9s with like horn tweeters built into them yet?
Yeah.
Do they?
DS18 makes a set.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I expected there would
Pioneers
be.
made them too. Pioneer made a set. I gotta be honest with you though, that I haven't heard any that have really blown me away.
Right.
I think the better move is like who is it? Ground Zero has their like motorcycle speakers and stuff like that. They're called Redbacks with the
Yeah.
tweeter on them. Those things are just stupid loud.
Those motorcycle speakers are loud as hell.
Dude, Rockford makes a set of motorcycle 6x9s. The problem is that because they're motorcycle speakers, they fall out of the realm of what most 12-volt people are willing to pay for things because they know their market and they price it accordingly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like most guys be like, how much for a pair of 6x9s? Dude, it ain't even a component. You out your mind.
Oh shoot! Like, yeah, I mean, a bunch of these brands. I think Diamond Audio makes some that are like $700-800.
Oh yeah.
Easy,
yeah.
you know, and they kind of look like regular 6x9s, but
and they're not. They're loud as hell. So this is an example of a high level to low level adapter that was put into the wrong situation. Knowing, like, you know, some people say use whatever high level to low level adapter you want. These work great, that work great. And it's like, sure, but not every situation are they great for. So in this case, this got put into a Lexus and off of the factory subwoofer, and the factory subwoofer in the Lexus puts out like 18 volts, and this is capable of handling about maybe 9.5 volts. So what happened is those sandstone resistors in there got super hot, and if you kind of look at that, you see some smooth spots where the burn is. That was actually where it started to melt into the plastic panel of the car. So the reason I knew there was a problem is I went in his trunk and I looked down and I saw the white sandstone resistor through the trunk of his car, and I go, I think you're gonna burn your car to the ground if you're not careful. And he's like, what? And I pulled the panel off and I peeled that off of it, and I said, this is the wrong piece to do this.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? It's like, yeah, you know, there's a reason why they make expensive 40-volt high level to low level adapters that can handle the amount of heat that's generated from, you know, a 20-volt, 40-volt output.
I don't think people realize how hot these resistors get. Just in, like, when I'm testing 5 channels, I use separate 100-watt resistors.
Oh, yeah.
And I've actually, after testing, that's only usually like 65 watts a channel going to it. But after testing, I've accidentally set my hand on there.
Oh.
Dude, like, just as I'm moving something around, I'm not looking, paying attention. Set your hand on there. Yeah. Nice little stove lesson.
Yeah, we have a 1 ohm 500-watt resistor that we would use every now and then, and it burned the we left it on there for like 2 minutes, and it burned the workbench. We're like, oh crap, yeah, we better shut that off.
Dude, I have mine mounted to an MDF panel, and it, like, I'm getting formaldehyde and everything else, because every time you
use them, smell it.
Yeah, you can smell it.
Well, see, that's what you need an amplifier, old beat up amplifier for.
I know. I need to
use
the
heatsink. That's what we have 4 ohm 50-watt in there for when we're doing 4-channel tests.
Yeah.
And we routed out the inside of a SCAR amp, RP SCAR amp, so that we routed 2 drawers so that you could fit 2 of them just like this. They slid right in, and then they're hooked up to the speaker terminals.
Well, see, now I use a computer case, so no more of that other nonsense. So I have fans on it and stuff, but yeah. What's this?
Do you use dielectric grease in areas that are exposed to elements like engine bays? The only time we use dielectric grease is when we're doing a backup camera. So before we plug in the little backup camera in the back of trucks, put a little dab of dielectric grease in there, put it together, and put the heat shrink on it.
Yeah. I usually, if I'm doing a ground or something, I usually put a little clear over it, just so it doesn't rust. That's the only reason. A lot of people use dielectric grease for the same thing.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one thing I forgot to mention about that install. So the battery in that which you've probably done tons of chargers. The battery's just right there, right
Yeah,
in
the
the trunk.
Yeah.
So my guy done the God level 3 self tapper ground. Like, bro, the battery's just right there. Like, what? Why?
Yeah, there's a great ground stud right there, man. Just
yeah.
Oh, man, I saw this. I was thumbing through, and this guy, sometimes it's just funny. It's like, I don't know why people say some, like, it's one thing to talk shit. It's another thing to type and talk shit. And like in a Jeep Wrangler, JL, JK, whatever, Gladiator, there is a plethora of grounding points in that thing. Like, they say, I don't know what they're thinking, but they put grounding points all over this freaking thing that are just there. They're just there. It's like in the kick panel, there's literally 3 studs sticking out. They're all grounding points.
Yeah.
And they, like, 2 of them, usually there's like 2 of them full, sometimes 3 of them full. And then there's like 2 in the center console. They're everywhere. And so it's like every place you want to put an amplifier, it's like within 10 inches is a factory ground bolt. So this guy used one, and this other person just laid into him like, dude, that's the shittiest ground ever. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? That's a factory ground point, dude. Like, that's the best ground. Like, you can't ask for something better than that. I mean, what? Why? Stop breathing.
Yeah, it's like somebody designed this, and they were like, you know what? This is a good spot for a good spot for a ground. But then someone's like, no experience whatsoever, like, oh no, man, no, you got to go straight to the frame.
No, actually, I saw a tool today. A buddy of mine posted a picture of where you sand off a little 1-inch disc, and then you just put this tool up to it, and it goes pow, and it welds a copper nut into that spot.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want one of those,
like a nutsert type thing.
But no, it like literally the male
so
and
so you can put
so it's like it's just a tool. You go up to it and go pow, and then you pull it away, and there's a male threaded copper bolt sticking out that's welded to the side of the car. And I was like,
that's not cheap. That's not cheap. I guarantee
it never is, but I still want that.
The cool stuff never is.
Is it true 3.5 inch? It's a true 3.5 inch. I want the neighbor to know I'm coming. I listen to modern day hip hop. Then you want to get some Neo tweeters. Everyone makes a Neo tweeter. So pick yourself up a nice set of Neo tweeters. Another brand you can look at too that makes some really nice Neo tweeters, as well as some 6x9s, is Hertz makes the SPL show line, which is really nice. And then, like I said, Ground Zero also has those Neo tweeters and really loud speakers that go down in the door. Of course, if you're just looking for general loud speakers, then there's a ton of them out there. I don't even know all their names anymore.
I think like almost every company that's a smaller SPL focused company has some kind of loudspeaker for you, and they're all. I mean, some of them stand out above the rest, but a lot of them are pretty similar.
Yeah. I have done, Rockford makes their 6.5.
Yeah.
And their Neo tweeter. I've done those in the Dodge Ram before, like a long time ago. Those were really nice. I liked their, I'm not a loudspeaker guy, but I liked theirs because theirs played a little lower and they weren't as obnoxious.
Yeah.
I know.
I do like, they have some like some composite cone ones that are pretty nice. They play a lot lower than regular loudspeakers.
Well, that's what I said. If this guy says 3.5 ain't going to get you loud, that's why I said Neo tweeter.
Yeah,
that'll get you loud.
Yeah,
I've been looking all over the rear of my 2025 Ram, pocket under the rear seat style. I'm not finding a factory ground spot.
Aren't they in the corners of those? I haven't messed with the 2500 Ram.
There's no, yeah. Actually, it's funny. We have a 2500 in the bay right now that we're working on. It's 2019. 2019 2500 Grant or wagon, whatever
Oh,
whatever
the
the
Power
wagon
Wagon.
package. Power wagon. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
we're
are cool.
putting DSR1, reflash the radio. He's getting an all Alpine system, so he's doing their R90V, I think is what it's called. It's the R-type 6-channel amplifier.
Yeah.
And then R-type 6.5 components up front and coaxial for there. Just a basic, yay.
Dude, this is such a nightmare.
What's that?
So this zooms in for me right now, and now I can't even see you. It's the stupid Apple mouse. How do I zoom it back out?
Go the other way.
Yeah, it didn't do it though.
Just hit the minus button on your keyboard.
Yeah, that's what
shift or
yeah,
command
it's
minus.
Like it's command minus, but it only wants to do it. All right, hold up.
I'm holding it.
I'm good. I'm good.
You got it?
Yeah. Well, because it pops it up in Google, and it's just a piece of junk.
All right. I like. Why do people put pro audio speakers in cars with big horn tweeters? Isn't that style not intended for vehicles? I mean, listen.
A lot of people,
as long as there's been car audio, people have been doing shit the wrong way. But it's the way they like. So technically, it's not the wrong way. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you not to do it. I mean, when you're putting so when we were there, Bob, American-based Bob, he's like, check out my new woofer. It's a 140-pound woofer or 120-pound woofer. Some obscene. I was like,
yeah,
good Lord. I wanted it immediately. I was like, dude, yeah, I'll take one.
Back in the days, like there wasn't a lot of speakers designed for car. They were all OEM stuff that car manufacturers were getting from Eminence or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Here we go.
There you go. Here's another one. Looks just like yours. Same problem.
Yeah. CCA and
is that banging around inside?
Yeah.
What's that?
That is CCA, isn't it?
I don't know if that's CCA or not because it just that was a fuse holder failure right there.
Yeah.
See, I don't think that was CCA. I think that was regular copper. What I think that might be is a glass fuse holder.
Yeah.
So what would happen with the glass fuse holders is they would do this, and then the fuse would bang around inside of it, and that would just create a lot of heat. Those are always fun. It's like, oh yeah, look at that. So
I think we have one final one to look at, and it might be a glass fuse holder as well. Yeah, no, it's not. It's here we go. It's not. It's one of those one of the more regular ones.
I think I know what pictures I took. If you've got something, send it in. We'll take a look at it. Oh yeah, that's why I hate these right here. Hate these things. I refuse to use those. Oh, those suck. There again, when used properly, they're fine. Everything has a use. Everything has like its limitations. The problem is most of the time, like these are good for maybe 120 amp fuse. Anything past that, man, it's just the bolt. There again, they don't come with lock washers a lot of the times. And it'll heat up and cool down and heat up and cool down and heat up and cool down. And eventually that nut gets loose.
Yeah.
And then the wire starts doing this and it starts creating heat. And then I've had tons of these do those. So that's why you never see these in any of the videos. We don't do them.
No, the cheap ones like that, they're not.
Dude, they're all the same. They're all the same.
Well, some of them are actually, they're not bolt style though. You put the wire in with ferrule.
Yeah, but I'm just saying this bolt style. The only one that I would use that has a bolt is Steve's.
Yeah.
Because Steve gives you all the washers, all the stuff you need, and he actually put some thought behind his.
Yeah.
He's got the nuts are epoxied in. These are just like, it's a nut and bolt, and there's a little piece of plastic glued over the bottom of it that always falls out.
Yeah.
His covers they have the nylon nut that hold them in place. those, they just fall off. So the trick is to just put a zip tie around it, and then you put a zip tie, attaching it to the brake line in the car or something so they catch on fire.
Yeah. And I speaking of which, I just ordered the SMD PNC 3. So it's a 3-spot. It's a power and ground block.
Those are the new ones.
The new one. So I don't know how big it's. Hopefully it's not like this big. Because it's A&L sized, it's not mini A&L. So we'll see.
Yeah, we're getting ready
I'm excited to get it.
Because we have the new Audio Frog amps that we're going to put in Fernando's car for the lab, and then we're going to use the new Metra, that big Metra fuse holder that they make that's for power and ground and has the LEDs. Because it's like this big, it's compact and sexy. It's the one we put in the Helix build or the Brax build. So we're going to take out all the X that we have in there because those just take up way too much room.
Yeah,
and they're just a pain in the ass to get, like, to take things in and out of because they're at an angle and they sit like this, and it's just like, so those two where you got, like, because we put them all together thinking, oh, this will be fine, and then there's that one where it's power and the other one that is ground, and you're like, yeah, this sucks.
Yeah, that's what, like, the T-Spec one. So I like it. I wish they had one spot for one-op pass-through, because it's, for my case, like, I'm testing a lot of big amps sometimes in the vehicle, so I want a one-op run because I can't get it really close.
Right.
But the 4 gauge is fine for the most part. But it goes around, and you, like, pass it through the middle to do the ground in the middle.
Yeah. I use them all the time.
Yeah. They're, like, pretty solid. They don't move at all.
I've never had an issue.
Because they just look so close. It's like, man, I'm scared.
No problems, man. None at all.
That's good to hear.
What I like about the T-Spec, actually, it was funny because I just had a meeting with them while we were out at SEMA, and I was yelling at them about something that we can't talk about. But what I like about the T-Spec is, one, it's Torx, which is just fucking awesome. Allen keys suck.
Yeah.
And two, the bottom of the bolt is round, so it's like it's a half circle, or not a circle, half globe. It's like a ball. So what's funny is when you put the ferrule in, you put it in, and then you can't twist it in because the ball sticks down so far, which is great because it's gonna push in and hold that ferrule in nice and tight instead of just going in flat and cutting the crap out of the ferrule. So what I typically do is I'll take that, and then I'll take, and I'll tap it with a screwdriver, just put a little dimple in it, and then I'll tighten it down, and it's like, that fuse, the T-Specs are awesome. Like, it's honestly, those are the only ones we use anymore if we have to, because they're just so much cooler.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely look cool.
Yeah, but no, I love those.
Let me see here.
Is there ever a case where you prefer CCA over OFC? No, definitely not a marine application.
No, that would be the worst.
That'd be the worst.
You definitely want to use, like, tinned OFC in a marine application.
Yeah, it does. Listen, that stuff does not do good around anything that is moist.
Yeah,
especially like chocolate brownies that are moist. You definitely don't want to put that anywhere around that. Because that's. But no, definitely not on a boat. I honestly, I think if you look at the code, like, for marine, it tells you straight up you can't put CCA in a boat. It's 100% fire hazard. There's a whole, like, book on what you can and can't put into a boat that you can get from the Coast Guard. That like, when they come on your boat and they harass the shit out of you if they want to get picky. That's why, like, when you look at marine wire, it's red and yellow and not red and black, because a boat can have two power sources, so it can have AC and DC, and AC, white is neutral, black is hot, or the shit that'll make your teeth chatter. So that's why DC in a boat is yellow and red. Yellow is ground, which screws with every 12-volt guy, because yellow is usually battery, like behind their deck. You have yellow, which is memory, red, which is key, and it's like, wait, now it's ground? What the fuck is going on in my head? And honestly, for when we started using that stuff in the F-150s, it would drive Fernando crazy. Because he's like, what are you using? I'm like, yellow is ground. It just doesn't make any sense.
I don't understand this world you're living in.
Doesn't make
right
any
now.
sense. Hey, man. I guess the only reason really to use CCA is if you're just cheap.
Yeah.
At
I
the end of
mean,
the day, if you're just
yeah,
cheap.
yeah. I couldn't justify it myself in any install, but but I do have it in an install right now, but it was for testing. I just wanted to see if it would hold up. And if you use it like I'm using it, you use 1 aught and you're pulling 100 amps out of it, not
Yeah,
even
you're
100
fine.
amps. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
you'll
never
be
going to have
fine.
any trouble. But
No.
people don't do that. People get 4-gauge and try to pull 200 amps out of it.
Well,
And
you got to go up
you
a
start to have a
size.
problem.
You got to go up a
Yeah.
size. So if you need 8-gauge copper, you need 4-gauge CCA. If you need 4-gauge CCA, you need 4-gauge copper, you need 0-gauge CCA. Like the theme to the show is everything is usually going to work within its parameters. It's when you try to work outside of those parameters is where like the stuff you saw happens, because it's just not made to do that. You can't make something do what it's not supposed to do. I often, when people come in and they're like, well, and I'll be like, okay, so basically what you're saying, if I'm going to apply your logic to this situation, I should be able to take you and put you on a treadmill and just press go, and I'm just going to keep making you go faster, and you're going to be fine. You're never going to fall over and kill yourself. That's never going to happen, right? And they're just looking at you like, well, of course it will. I said, well, it's the same thing. It's not made to do that either. So stop.
Yeah, stop doing that. Yeah. Yeah, that's very true.
Man.
It's here's the thing. People in DIY, they're going to see what they can get away with. They're like bad kids.
Of course.
They're like bad kids. Like, you could tell them no. It's like, but really no.
Yeah.
I have to see.
Well, I mean, it's just human nature for us to want to push. Hey, you can push yourself as hard as you want, man. There's no doubt about it. And guess what usually happens? Usually break something.
Exactly.
It's usually famous line by Clint Eastwood, and it goes something like, "A man's got to know a man's limitations." It's just a life lesson, man. You got to know your limitations.
Yeah.
And you got to know the limitations of your product. It was weird. I thought it was the 90s again. I had a guy come in and blew both of his subwoofers. Like, I haven't had a guy blow both of his subwoofers in years. This guy roasted these things, like, just freaking done. And I'm like, dude, man, like, we talked about this. Like, we literally sat in your car for 20 minutes talking about how you can play these. And then he's playing it on me like, look, well, the guy who sat in the car, that was me.
Yeah.
Well, I said, no, I didn't. No, I know exactly what I said, because I say the same thing to every people. Every person gets the same speech. I have it memorized. I know exactly what I say, and I didn't say that. So let's start over. And listen, I'm not your daddy. I'm not mad at you. There's no animosity here. The only problem is I'm explaining to you that you were trying to, and it's like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, what? Listen, I don't care, man. There's a warranty for a reason. You don't have to lie to me. I'm just trying to tell you that, look, whatever you were doing, I don't care about. Don't do it anymore, because you're destroying these things. So don't sit here and tell me that you're barely turning it up. I know that's a lie. I know that's a lie. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't happen. It doesn't. You are cranking the shit out of it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You did this. You did this, guy.
Any suggestions for passive crossovers with a volume control? I would like to add tweeters and run them off the front channels, but not feed them full power. Fader on your radio? Depends on the radio that you have.
Who used to do that? CDT.
Those are called. Well, you could get L pads too.
Yeah, it's just they would sell L pads with it.
Yeah, L pads. Look up L pad. They probably have them at what's that place that sells Dynotti? Parts Express. Parts Express will have them. Okay, so you got to remember, an L pad is a high wattage, like a bass knob, but it's for wattage. So you have to just get one that can handle the wattage you're using, and it will put resistance back into the receiver. So you have to be careful of that. But so you get an L pad.
Yeah,
and they're usually like 2 channels, so then you just have one knob.
That's the solution.
That's some old home audio crap. We
Yeah,
used to have
exactly.
home audio in multi-room. You'd have L pads on the wall. Just adjust the volume for each room. Oh yeah, that was fun.
That's classic right there. 4 zones.
Customer hit me up. I blew my amp. Need to swap it. I was like, remember when we had this conversation that you literally nowhere near the electro? Yeah, and it will blow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they always forget about that. I mean,
Yeah. Why can't I put this in my 1999 Civic? It has a 60 amp alternator. It ought to be able to handle it. I'll throw a Group 31 in there. It'll handle
it's a 3K, man. You're fine.
RP2000. Yeah.
It's a 3K. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, man. You're good. Just go.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Just do it.
No breakers. No breakers. Breakers are not allowed.
No, I don't like circuit breakers either.
I had a bad experience. Although I did get a ton of breakers for the amp dyno, so I can easily turn things on and off. So it's dude. So Jeff got me a bunch of these Stinger marine breakers.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus. Okay. If you need breakers, Jesus Christ, Stinger's marine breakers are for real, man. Holy shit. They have 150 amp. This thing is like this big. It's freaking huge. Like you could kill somebody with this thing. I was like, because I mean, for one, it's ignition safe, so it won't let out any sparks or anything like that, which is what marine has to be. You have to have an ignition safe, and not ignition like key ignition is like a fire source. So that spark we keep talking about, you have to have an ignition safe circuit breaker or an ignition safe fuse. So Kicker sells ignition safe fuses, they look like ice cubes. There's little square things. So it's a fuse inside of a hermetically sealed chamber so that if it blows, it won't let out a spark. Because a lot of the times the fuse go back in the engine bay, and if there's a gas leak, bad things could happen.
Yeah.
So who knew? I haven't got to see the Amp 360 camera kit in person yet, like working. So I haven't got to see it.
So what you got coming up then?
Tomorrow you're gonna get the boringest video you've ever seen. So we had a GoPro mounted to the top of the booth at SEMA.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get to see in 6 minutes what 2 days of SEMA on the floor looks like.
A bunch of people moving around.
You see like Jeff Smith and us and everyone moving around, talking to people. Yeah, so it's one of those things where it was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, but it's kind of fun to watch because if you've ever wondered what it's like to work a booth at SEMA, 6 minutes, 2 days, and it's just us running around like ants. So
yeah,
so it's kind of cool. And then whatever, we got a ton of crap we got to do. I got to start getting ready to see if we're gonna do the 12 Days of Christmas. We're gonna try. We're doing something for Christmas. We're definitely doing something. We just don't know what yet. So even if we decide not to go out to vendors, we have enough crap that we want to get rid of just to clean out.
Dude, I've got a bunch of subs here. Like, listen,
you should do your own sub Christmas, man.
No, listen, you do it on yours, and I'll ship a couple of them from my house. So we'll work that out.
Okay, we'll do a Hi-Fi Vega day where he just dumps all the woofers he's got.
Yeah.
You want to pay that much in shipping? You're trying to compete?
Hey, listen, pirate ship, dude, cheap, super cheap compared to. That's what I've been using. It's still not cheap. I mean, cheap is like $20 versus $40, but it's still $20 times.
It's nice that you got time for that kind of thing.
Yeah, I know. It's much easier.
Why would I give away my home audio stuff? Like that doesn't even make sense. I use it every day. You'd have to deal with the girls. They use it more than I do. Shit. I wouldn't get rid of that. Yeah, a Hi-Fi Vega Christmas sub giveaway. That's what I'm saying, man. You could totally rock that.
I'll probably do both, to be honest with you.
You do 12 days of Hi-Fi Vega sub giveaway.
Listen, I have more than just the subs I tested here. I've got videos coming up from a brand you may or may not have heard of before.
Yeah, that's DD.
Yeah. So
why would I not have heard of that?
Well, I'm talking to the viewers.
Why would they not have heard of that?
Maybe they're
Isn't
not
that
cool.
That's an Oklahoma company?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oklahoma City.
That's the other Oklahoma. That's the place I called and tried to get some RCAs from them because they have those cool ended RCAs that they make.
The Z.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, you should just go. No, I'm calling you. Oh, yeah, well, okay, never mind.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they sell online now, so you didn't like
Do
fun.
they?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the big news.
Wow.
So, yep.
Well, with their customer service they had, that ought to be great. That sucked.
Yeah, I've never had to call them, but
I don't want to call them ever again because that was like, it's like I got money. I don't want to. Yeah, I want these.
This. I want this thing. Yeah.
Can I just buy? DD sells through Sky High. Oh no, very cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that video is coming out for mine at some point.
Okay.
I've already had that one in my vehicle for a little over a week. I've got another model in the Trooper, and I've had it for about 4 or 5 days. So I'll be working on that video this weekend, capturing footage. But I always like to listen to them for a week, so I have a valid opinion of what I think they sound like. And
I mean, yeah.
Why not? I mean, it's the best way when I can. There sometimes if it's just SPL, it's like, well, okay, I'll break them in, and then we'll just do SPL. But if I'm trying to say if I like them or not, then I want to run them. That being said, the championship round is done. The video is edited.
Very cool.
Sunday coming up, and it's been a journey. I wish I could have done
dude, it's been a long journey, man.
Dude, I wish I could have.
You've been working on this for like 2 months.
I know. And it only ended up being 6 videos. So I was like, surely I could just get those out 6 weeks in a row now. No, it didn't work out like that. But it's going to conclude this weekend.
Thank God.
Yeah, I know. Trust me. I know. Because I want these subs out of here. All right. That's what I got. You got anything else?
See you next week.
Yeah. Come if you want to watch us talk about nonsense.
Oh, come watch the news tomorrow, 9:00. Dino Fernando's Car Stereo Clips. YouTube
watch
channel.
It. Not nonsense, but what is nonsense is the next show.
Yes. Well, that's the news. The news is in the morning.
Yeah. Watch news in the morning. Good times. See you later.
All right, guys. See ya.
In broadcast.